WWT starts with breaking news.
Breaking news just into our newsroom. Douglas County Sheriff's investigators have released new details in a fiery crash that killed 2 teenagers and injured 3 others.
The crash happened early on the morning of October 8th when deputies say the driver of a Kia was speeding. The driver went off the road on North River Drive, approaching the Washington County line. The car then hit a tree and burst into flames. The
teens who died have been identified as 16-year-olds Ray Huto and Ewa Hutu. Ray was the driver and he was under juvenile court supervision at the time of the crash. He had a history of arrests for theft and firearm offenses, among other charges. 3 other passengers were injured. They were between the ages of 13 and 17.
Investigators say the Kia was stolen earlier that same day, and they believe the teens may be tied to a series of stolen Kias in the metro area. Anyone with information is urged to contact the Sheriff's Office tip line. That number at the bottom of your screen, 402-444-6000.